The phone rang again and again while Billie Tyler sat on a beach blanket at Tybee Island. Her daughter, Cordelia, counted every call like it was a game. "Mommy, that is number 20, Cordelia said. Billie did not answer. Her son, Gary, was digging in the sand with a red plastic shovel, laughing as the waves came close to his feet. Far away, Evelyn was standing in a resort parking lot, scared and ashamed. Beside her, Josephine was shouting at a hotel worker because the room had not been paid for. But Billie did not know that yet. All she knew was the ocean, her children, and the peace she had finally chosen. Billie Tyler was 33 years old and worked as a bookkeeper at Dr. Noah's Animal Clinic, a small clinic outside Atlanta. She was not rich, but she was careful. She checked bills, balanced salaries, counted supplies, and made sure every number was correct. "Numbers do not lie," Billie often said. Dr. Noah trusted her because Billie never played with money. At home, she was raising Cordelia and Gary alone. Every morning, she packed lunches, drove them to school, worked all day, picked them up, cooked dinner, helped with homework, and still found time to smile. Life was not easy, but Billie managed it with discipline. Her father, Bryan Tyler, had understood her better than anyone. He had been a plumber for many years, with rough hands and a gentle voice. 4 years earlier, he lay in a hospital bed, weak but clear in his mind. Billie stood on one side of the bed while Josephine stood near the window. Bryan looked at Billie and said, "Daughter, I need you to help your mother when I am gone." Billie held his hand. "I will, Daddy." He gave her a brown envelope filled with insurance papers, bank details, and bills. Josephine said nothing until they left the room. Then she texted, "Dad always trusted you more." When Bryan Tyler died 3 months later, Billie did everything he had asked. She paid hospital debts, funeral costs, house repairs, and old bills. The remaining money went into a savings account for Evelyn, only for real emergencies. Every month, Billie also sent Evelyn $300 for food, medicine, light, and water. Josephine gave nothing. "I have my own children to care for," she always said. Her children, Lily and Liam, visited Evelyn often, and Josephine used that as power. "If you keep inviting Billie, I will stop bringing the children," she warned. So Evelyn slowly pushed Billie and her children aside. Every summer, the Tyler family used to go to the beach. It was Bryan's favorite tradition. After he died, Billie tried to keep it alive for Cordelia and Gary. She booked the rooms, packed the food, planned the travel, and paid most of the cost. Josephine always promised to help, but her money came late or not at all. Evelyn paid nothing, yet still expected to be included. Billie told herself, "It is for the children." But deep inside, she knew the truth. She was not just protecting a family tradition. She was funding people who no longer respected her. That summer, Josephine wanted something bigger, and she planned to make Billie pay. 3 months before the summer trip, Josephine stood in her driveway while her ex-husband, Maverick, dropped off Lily and Liam. Maverick leaned against his truck and said, "You know Billie refused to lend me money last year, right?" Josephine rolled her eyes. "That sounds like Billie. She keeps money like the bank will disappear tomorrow." Maverick smiled. "Your mother still has Billie's emergency card, doesn't she?" Josephine looked at him sharply. "Why?" Maverick lowered his voice. "Book the resort. Use the card. Billie has been acting like that money belongs only to her." Josephine hesitated, but jealousy quickly covered her guilt. A few weeks later, Lily had her birthday party at Evelyn's house. Billie arrived with Cordelia and Gary, carrying cupcakes and a gift bag. Mrs. Naomi, a family friend, sat on the porch and watched the children play. For 1 hour, everything looked peaceful. Then Josephine pulled Billie into the kitchen. "I need to tell you something," Josephine said. "We are going to Hilton Head this summer. Me, Evelyn, Lily, and Liam." Billie waited. "What about Cordelia and Gary?" Josephine folded her arms. "They are not coming. My children want a peaceful trip with real family." The words cut deep, but Billie stayed calm. When Billie stepped back into the living room, she saw Evelyn holding her bank card. Billy stared at it. Mom, why do you have my card? Evelyn looked nervous. Josephine said she needed it for the booking. Billy turned to her sister. That card was for medicine, food, or a real emergency. Josephine laughed. Family is an emergency. Billy looked at Evelyn. You knew she wanted to use my money for a trip my children were not allowed to attend? Evelyn lowered her eyes. Mrs. Naomi watched quietly from the porch. Billy nodded once. Keep it, she said. Then she called Cordelia and Gary and left. The drive home was quiet. Cordelia held the cupcake box on her lap while Gary hummed softly in the back seat. Near their apartment, Cordelia asked, Mommy, why did Aunt Josephine say we are not real family? Billy gripped the steering wheel, but her voice stayed gentle. Some adults say cruel things when they want control. Cordelia looked down. Are we still going to the beach? Billy looked at her through the mirror. Yes, baby. We will have our own beach trip. Gary leaned forward. With ice cream. Billy smiled. Yes, with ice cream. That night, after the children slept, Billy opened her banking app and checked every strange withdrawal. The next morning, Billy drove to a new bank across town. She opened a fresh checking account and a fresh savings account. Then she moved her travel money, bill money, and emergency savings away from the old account. She left only $12 there, just enough to keep it open. Evelyn still had the card, but the card was now almost useless. Billy told no one. Not Evelyn, not Josephine, not Maverick. That evening, while Cordelia did homework and Gary played with toy cars, Billy opened her notebook. At the top of a clean page, she wrote, My children come first. Then she began planning a simple beach trip for 3. 2 weeks later, Evelyn invited everyone for Sunday dinner. Billy almost refused, but Cordelia wanted to see her grandmother, and Gary wanted the sweet rolls. The table had fried chicken, beans, and mashed potatoes. Before dinner ended, Josephine pulled out her phone. Look at our resort, she said, showing Evelyn pictures of Hilton Head. There were white balconies, a shining pool, and a big restaurant near the water. Evelyn smiled. That looks lovely. Josephine looked across the table at Billy. Some people cannot afford places like this. Gary looked up. Mommy, are we going to the beach too? Billy touched his shoulder. Yes, sweetheart. We will have our own adventure. After dinner, Billy washed the dishes while Evelyn dried them. For a while, only the water made sound. Then Evelyn said, Your sister did not mean to hurt you. Billy placed a plate in the rack. Which part did Josephine not mean? Leaving my children out or using my card? Evelyn looked down. You know how she talks. Billy turned off the tap. No, Mom. Josephine knows exactly what she is doing. From the living room, Cordelia, Gary, Lily, and Liam laughed at a cartoon. Billy looked toward them. Children remember cruel words, Mom. They may stop asking, but they remember. Evelyn said nothing. That night, after Cordelia and Gary slept, Billy sat at her kitchen table with her laptop open. She searched for small beach places near Savannah. Then she found Tybee Island, a simple, bright beach town with quiet inns and soft sand. One small inn still had a room for the last week of June. It had 2 beds, a little kitchen, and a small porch. Billy wrote the cost in her notebook. Room, petrol, food, sunscreen, ice cream. One special activity. She added everything twice. It was possible. She clicked, Book now. When the confirmation email came, Billy smiled through tears. She did not need Josephine's table. She could build her own joy. The next morning, Cordelia saw a sticky note on the fridge. It had one word on it, beach. She turned around with wide eyes. Mommy, are we really going? Billy smiled. Yes, but it is a surprise. No dates, no place, no details outside this house. Cordelia nodded seriously. I will not tell Lily. Gary ran in with one sock on. Will there be dolphins? Billie laughed. Maybe. Cordelia became quiet. Is Grandma Evelyn coming? Billie sat beside her. Not this time. Cordelia looked at the note again. Billie held her hand. Sometimes peace means going where people cannot spoil your happiness. Gary shouted, Then I want a red shovel. While Billie planned quietly, Josephine booked the expensive Hilton Head resort. She paid the first deposit with her own card and planned to charge the rest to Billie's old card. Later, she called Maverick. It is done, Josephine said. Mom still has the card. Maverick laughed. Good. Billie will never know until the money is gone. That evening, Josephine called Evelyn. Keep that card safe, she said. The final payment will come out before we travel. Evelyn sounded worried. Are you sure this is right? Josephine sighed. Mom, she left the card with you. That is permission. Evelyn did not agree, but she did not stop her. May became very busy at Dr. Noah's animal clinic, and Billie welcomed the distraction. Dogs came in with skin problems, cats needed medicine, and one puppy swallowed a child's sock. Billie sat behind her desk, checking invoices and balancing payments. One afternoon, Dr. Noah leaned by her door and said, You look lighter these days. Billie looked up. Lighter. Dr. Noah smiled. Like you dropped a heavy bag. Billie thought about the old bank account with only $12 inside. She thought about the secret Tybee Island booking. Maybe I did, she said. After work, she picked up Cordelia and Gary from school, but Cordelia was too quiet. At a stop sign, Billie looked at Cordelia through the mirror. Baby, what happened? Cordelia held her school bag tightly. Lily said we cannot go on the family trip because we are not real family. Billie felt her chest tighten. Who told Lily that? Cordelia whispered. Aunt Josephine. For 3 seconds, Billie said nothing. Then she pulled the car safely to the side. Listen to me, Cordelia. You and Gary are my family. You are not half family. You are not outside family. You are real family. Gary leaned forward. Are we still going to our beach? Billie smiled softly. Yes. Our beach is still waiting. That night, after Cordelia and Gary fell asleep, Billie sat alone on the couch with her phone. She opened her bank app and looked at the monthly transfer to Evelyn. $300 every month for 4 years. Food, medicine, lights, water, quiet help. No thank you. No respect. Billie remembered Cordelia asking if she was real family, and something inside her became firm. She pressed cancel. A message appeared, Are you sure? Billie pressed confirm. Then she wrote Evelyn a short email. Mom, I have adjusted my finances. The monthly transfer will not continue. I love you, but I must focus on my children now. She sent it before guilt could stop her. 2 minutes later, Evelyn called. Billie answered calmly. Hello, Mom. Evelyn sounded upset. What am I supposed to do now? Billie leaned against the kitchen counter. You have your savings, Mom. You have your own monthly income. And Josephine lives close to you. Evelyn sighed. Your sister has her own expenses. Billie replied. So do I. I have Cordelia and Gary. Silence filled the phone. Then Evelyn said, I cannot believe you would do this to me. Billie closed her eyes. I am not doing anything to you, Mom. I am just not doing it for you anymore. Evelyn hung up. 20 minutes later, Josephine sent a message. What did you do? Mom is crying. Billie read it, placed the phone face down, and washed the dinner plates. She did not explain. She did not argue. For the first time in years, she slept without feeling responsible for everyone. 1 week before the trip, Billie pulled summer clothes from the hall closet. Cordelia needed new shorts, and Gary needed swim trunks. Behind a box of old winter things, Billie found a dusty shoebox that had belonged to Bryan Tyler. Inside were his old card, a beach photo, and a white envelope with Billie's name written in his strong handwriting. Billie sat on the closet floor and opened the envelope with shaking hands. Inside was a short letter from Bryan Tyler. It said, Billie you are the one who keeps her word. Do not let anyone turn your kindness into a key to your wallet. If helping them starts hurting you, stop. You kept the lights on long enough. Take your babies to the beach. Dad. Billie pressed the paper to her chest and closed her eyes. Bryan had seen everything before it happened. He knew Josephine would take. He knew Evelyn would stay silent. Billie folded the letter carefully and placed it inside her wallet. That evening, Billie took Cordelia and Gary to Walmart for beach things. We are buying what we need, not everything we see, Billie warned. Gary nodded seriously, then immediately held up shark goggles. Mommy, these have teeth. Billie checked the price and smiled. Fine. Shark goggles can come. Cordelia chose a pink swimsuit with tiny starfish on the straps. Is this too much? She asked. Billie shook her head. No, baby. It is perfect. They bought sunscreen, flip-flops, a beach bag, and a red shovel. The total stayed under budget. At home, Billie packed everything quietly and hid the bags behind winter coats. 1 week before check-in, Josephine sent pictures to the family group chat. First came the resort pool at Hilton Head. Then the balcony view. Then a seafood restaurant with expensive prices. Billie saw every message during lunch at Dr. Noah's animal clinic, but she did not reply. Then Josephine sent another text. Mom, I booked the dinner cruise too. $480. It will go on the same card. Billie stared at the words, then opened her banking app. The old account still had only $12. She took one bite of her sandwich and smiled faintly. Josephine was about to learn that stolen plans can become very expensive. That Friday, Maverick picked up Lily and Liam from Josephine's house. Before leaving, he leaned near the porch and asked, Are you sure Billie's card has enough money? Josephine lifted her chin. She saves every month. There should be plenty. Maverick smirked. Then the trip is already paid for. Josephine watched his truck drive away, but when she went back inside, she looked at her phone. Billie's contact photo showed Billie and Cordelia smiling at the beach from years ago. For 5 seconds, Josephine's thumb hovered over the call button. She could have asked. She could have confessed. Instead, she locked the phone. 3 days before check-in, the Hilton Head Resort tried to charge the remaining balance. $2,400 went against the card Evelyn still carried in her purse. The payment declined. The resort sent Josephine an email. Payment failed. Please provide another card within 48 hours or the reservation will be canceled. Josephine called Evelyn in panic. Billie*******************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************************�e $12. She called Josephine back with a shaking voice. There is almost nothing there. Josephine went silent. Then she said, She moved the money. At Dr. Noah's animal clinic, Billie saw Josephine calling and pressed decline. The resort gave Josephine 48 hours to pay. She sat at her kitchen table, opened her credit card app, and stared at the numbers. Her limit was almost full. She needed $2,400, but she had only about $1,200 available. She called Maverick first. Can you lend me the rest? She asked quickly. Maverick laughed. I do not have that kind of money. Josephine snapped. This was your idea. Maverick replied. I gave you an idea. You chose to use it. Then he hung up. Josephine threw the phone on the table and called Evelyn. Evelyn did not want to touch her savings, but Josephine cried until she agreed. The children are expecting this trip, Josephine said. Do you want Lily and Liam disappointed? So Evelyn went to the bank and withdrew $600 from the emergency account Billie had created for her. Josephine used the last space on her credit card and paid part of the balance, but she was still short. That evening, She called Billy again and again. Billy was bathing Gary, with bubbles on his chin and a toy shark in his hand. She saw Josephine calling, turned the phone over, and kept reading Gary's bedtime story. The next night, Josephine appeared at Billy's apartment. Her hair was messy, and her eyes looked tired. Billy opened the door but did not step aside. "What did you do with the money?" Josephine demanded. Billy looked at her calmly. "My money is in my account. Just not the one you planned to steal from." Josephine gasped. "Steal? Mom had permission." Billy shook her head. "No, Evelyn had my card for real emergencies, not your resort." Josephine softened her voice. "Please, Billy, help us." Billy replied, "You told Cordelia and Gary they were not real family. We are done." Then she closed the door. The next morning, Evelyn called Dr. Noah's animal clinic because she knew Billy would answer the work phone. "Can you just put the money back for the family?" Evelyn asked. Billy sat straight in her chair. "Mom, you held my card while Josephine planned a trip that excluded my children." Evelyn whispered, "That was your sister's idea." Billy answered, "And you went along with it." Evelyn began to cry. "Your father would be disappointed." Billy touched the letter from Bryan Tyler inside her wallet. "No, Mom. Daddy told me to stop when helping started hurting." The line went quiet. Then Evelyn hung up. After work, Billy stopped at the grocery store for milk and bread. In the cereal aisle, she saw Mrs. Naomi comparing 2 boxes of oatmeal. Mrs. Naomi looked up and said, "I heard about the trip." Billy held the shopping cart tightly. "Mom told you." Mrs. Naomi nodded. "She wanted me to talk sense into you, but I told her no." Billy blinked. Mrs. Naomi stepped closer. "I was at Lily's birthday. I saw Evelyn holding that card. I saw what Josephine did. You do not owe them anything." Billy breathed out slowly. Mrs. Naomi squeezed her hand and said, **** Bryan Tyler ** would say the same." That night, Billy packed the car after Cordelia and Gary had fallen asleep. She carried out the cooler, beach towels, snacks, juice boxes, clothes, and Gary's red shovel. She checked the Tybee Island booking again and saved the confirmation number in her phone and wallet. 4 missed calls from Josephine and 2 from Evelyn sat on her screen, but Billy ignored them. She sat on the porch with a glass of lemonade and touched Bryan Tyler's letter inside her wallet. "Take your babies to the beach," he had written. Billy looked at the quiet street and smiled. Tomorrow, she would finally do exactly that. The next morning, Billy, Cordelia, and Gary left before sunrise. Cordelia slept with her head against the window while Gary held his shark goggles like treasure. By noon, they reached Tybee Island. Their room was small but clean, with 2 beds, a tiny kitchen, and a porch that smelled of salt air. Cordelia changed into her swimsuit before Billy finished unpacking. Gary grabbed his shovel and shouted, "Beach now!" Billy laughed. "Beach now!" Soon, Cordelia was jumping over waves while Gary dug a deep hole in the sand. Billy sat on the blanket, watching them, and felt peace enter her body like sunlight. At the same time, Josephine, Evelyn, Lily, and Liam reached the Hilton Head resort after hours of driving. Josephine walked into the lobby with sunglasses on her head and confidence on her face. The hotel clerk typed her name and frowned. "There is still a balance of $1,200, the clerk said. Josephine pushed her credit card across the counter. The clerk tried it, then looked up. "I am sorry. It was declined." Evelyn sat down slowly in a lobby chair. "I do not have any more money," she whispered. Lily tugged Josephine's shirt. "Mom, where is our room?" Josephine snapped, "Not now." Josephine pulled Evelyn toward the hallway and hissed, "Call Billy now." Evelyn dialed with shaking hands. On Tybee Island, Billy's phone rang inside the beach bag. She looked at the screen, saw Evelyn's name, and pressed decline. It rang again. Decline. Again. Decline. Cordelia counted each call while Gary kept digging. "Mommy, why does Grandma keep calling?" Cordelia asked. Billie looked at the ocean, then at her children. "Nobody important right now," she said gently. Then she stood, took Gary's hand, and walked toward the water with Cordelia beside her. The phone kept buzzing, but the waves were louder. Back at Hilton Head, Josephine lost control. She shouted at the clerk, "My sister did this on purpose. She moved the money to ruin us." Families in the lobby turned to stare. Lily began to cry quietly near a plant, and Liam held Evelyn's sleeve. The manager came out and said, "Ma'am, you need to step outside." So Josephine, Evelyn, Lily, and Liam walked into the hot parking lot with no room, no refund, and no plan. Evelyn sat on a bench, tired and ashamed. Billie never agreed to pay, she said softly. Josephine snapped, "She was supposed to." Evelyn looked up. "No. You only wanted her to." The drive back home from Hilton Head was silent for nearly 1 hour. Josephine kept both hands tight on the steering wheel. Evelyn stared through the window, looking older than when they left. In the back seat, Lily wiped her eyes while Liam hugged his small toy dinosaur. After a while, Liam asked, "Grandma, why could we not go with Cordelia and Gary?" Evelyn closed her eyes. Josephine said sharply, "Do not start that." But Lily whispered, "I miss them." That hurt more than any declined card. The children Josephine claimed wanted peace without Billie's children were now asking for the same cousins she had pushed away. At sunset, Billie, Cordelia, and Gary sat on the beach at Tybee Island. The sky turned orange and purple while the water shone like glass. Cordelia rested her head on Billie's lap, tired from running in the waves. Gary came back holding a broken sand dollar. "Mommy, is it still good if it is broken?" he asked. Billie rubbed her thumb across the rough edge and smiled. "Yes, sweetheart. Sometimes broken things are still beautiful." Her phone had many missed calls from Evelyn and Josephine, but Billie did not call back. She looked at her children, touched Bryan Tyler's letter in her wallet, and felt free. 2 days after Billie returned home, Evelyn called. This time, Billie answered from her car outside Dr. Noah's animal clinic. "Can we talk?" Evelyn asked softly. Billie turned off the radio. "I am listening." Evelyn breathed slowly. "I should not have let Josephine decide everything. I should not have held your card." Billie stayed quiet for a moment. "You knew something would be charged, Mom," Evelyn whispered. "Yes," Billie said. "From now on, my money stays with me. No cards at your house. No shared access. If you want to see Cordelia and Gary, you are welcome. But I am not funding plans that exclude us." For 2 weeks, Josephine did not call Billie. Then they saw each other at a town potluck. Billie came in with Cordelia, Gary, and a bowl of potato salad. Josephine stood near the dessert table with Lily and Liam. Their eyes met, but Josephine looked away first. No shouting. No argument. No apology. Just silence across a crowded room. Then Lily ran over and said, "Aunt Billie, can Cordelia come play with me?" Billie smiled. "Of course, sweetheart." Cordelia took Lily's hand, and Gary followed Liam outside. Josephine watched them go, but she said nothing. Her own children had chosen family over her bitterness. That night, Billie tucked Cordelia and Gary into bed and placed the broken sand dollar on the shelf beside Bryan Tyler's old photo. She understood something clearly now. Family was not a bank card, a guilt trip, or a seat at a holiday table. Family was love, respect, and protection. Evelyn had learned that silence could cost more than money. Josephine had learned that stolen plans could collapse in public. And Billie had learned that peace sometimes begins when the phone rings and you do not answer. She was no longer the wallet everyone reached for. She was a mother, a daughter, and a woman who had finally chosen herself. With Cordelia and Gary safe beside her, Billie slept in peace. If you've ever had to move your money just to protect your peace, or finally said no to someone who treated your kindness like a monthly payment, share this story with someone who needs the reminder. Tell me your story in the comments. Subscribe for more on Abuel Folktales, and I'll see you in the next one.